Let's hear from our boy Eric Trump.
And the future is incredible. The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super excited.
How do you think Bitcoin's going to go?
I've always said that I think in time Bitcoin surpasses $1 million. I think with quantitative easing that we're going to have starting tomorrow when the announcement's made, and all signs point in the right direction, unless this guy's really off his rocker, but then he's going to just get laughed out of this country. But I think starting tomorrow you're going to see right drops. You see what's happening with M2, which is the money supply around the world, which is skyrocketing right now. Fourth quarter has always historically been the best quarter, generally the best quarter for cryptocurrencies.
I agree. I think Bitcoin's going to heat up. Gold usually runs first. Bitcoin outperforms.
Hello everyone, this is BTC Insight and welcome to yet another deep dive into BTC Insight. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. You won't want to miss this.
Jack Mallers begins with a blunt truth. The money printing has already begun. And according to him, there's no way out of it. Governments around the world, especially the United States, must print money if they want access to scarce commodities, real goods, and the raw materials that power economies. Whether it's oil from Argentina or semiconductors from South Korea, the exchange is simple. Dollars are printed, swap lines are created, and the system keeps rolling. For years, the narrative was that tariffs or strong leadership would fix economic imbalances. Politicians claimed America could impose tariffs, rebuild industry, and run a tight ship without relying on debt and printing. Mallers calls this nonsense. In his words, it's bullshit. Governments cannot escape the math. They must debase their currency to stay afloat.
The money printing has begun. You have to print the money. If you want access to real stuff, real commodities, real scarce materials, you want to be able to produce stuff in this country. You want something from South Korea? Give them a swap line. Print the money. You want commodities and oil from Argentina? Okay. Print the money. So this whole idea that we were going to tariff everyone, the tariffs were going to finance all this stuff. Elon was going to come in and run a tight ship and he was going to fix everything. Bullshit. Sorry, kids in the back of the car. Sorry. Close your ears. Bullshit. And it's fine. I'm not mad at it. It's just the truth. I would be mad at it if someone tries to convince you not to buy Bitcoin, because they're going to have to print the money. They're going to have to debase the dollar. It is default by debasement. So you have to get yourself and your family and your loved ones in a money that can save you, that can protect your time and energy and effort and labor. Protect your savings. Because listen, the world is changing. Okay? The world order is changing. And I think it's for the better. No country, no central bank, no corporation should be responsible for dictating the global time and energy and how we price it and how we exchange it. That should never be a thing, right? I think we can all agree on that. So the fact that the world is changing is great. The US has to get back to doing real proof of work, to actually producing real stuff, okay? The worth of the dollar has to go down. It's artificially strengthened. It has to debase against gold and Bitcoin. So we all agree with this. I would prefer we get there without a lot of violence. I would prefer no World War III. Let's all just, okay, fair enough. The US will start producing stuff. The dollar will get debased and weakened. Gold will soar to the moon. Bitcoin will soar to the moon. We'll all move on. Multipolar world. Fair. Okay? I'm not mad about that. Just understand what's happening. Appreciate what we're living through. CNBC gets on and says, you're buying Bitcoin? Why don't you buy the 10-year treasury? By listening to this show, you'd have to understand that they're either stupid or malicious. Either one is bad. Either one, do not take financial advice from. I hate when people say, oh, well, they don't know any better. That doesn't help my case. My family gets less housing, less health, less vacations, less education, because they didn't know any better? I don't give a shit how much they know. Then stop giving financial advice on television. Buy some Bitcoin, guys. Buy some Bitcoin. So the last chapter I got, Bitcoin fixes this. So this tweet from Elon is a funny meme. No, you can't just print money infinitely. And then he's got the little piece of code that says, while true, print money. So he's saying you can't stop them from printing money. Yes, you can. Bitcoin quite literally fixes this. So this is the piece of Bitcoin's code that, it's the whole halving, block reward, reduce the new coins rewarded until they're gone. So Bitcoin does fix this. It's right here. You can go look at it on GitHub, and this is what it creates. It creates a monetary asset that's literally finite. And by the way, gold is scarce. It's not literally finite. If the gold price keeps going up, we're going to find more gold. Elon said, if you get the gold price high enough, I'll go to Mars and get some. There's gold everywhere. There's just not gold in abundance because it costs too much to go get the gold. We know where more gold is. Just send the price high enough, I'll go find more gold. You can't find more Bitcoin. So Bitcoin literally fixes this, Mr. Musk. Literally fixes this. Let's hear from our boy, Ray Dalio, on Bitcoin.
Well, the evolution of Bitcoin over the years is one of the things that has influenced changes in my view. It has proven itself something like 10, 11 years ago. Imagine the programming of this, and you throw it out, and that's the idea. It has not been hacked. It has operated. It is built. It has come an amazing way over that 11 years to be probably the most excited topic among a lot of people, and has been used and is now has obtained the status of having imputed value. At the same time, it is one of those assets that is an alternative money. I think we're entering an era where there's going to be a competition of monies because of the printing of fiat money and the depreciated value. There will be a competition of monies, and Bitcoin is part of that competition.
Ray gets it. Ray Dalio gets it. There will be a competition of monies. The world will have an open competition for the best place to store your time, your energy, your effort, your labor. Because people misunderstand money. They think, oh, money is just for how I get from point A to point B. From how do I hand money from me to the pizza man? It's not only traveling value through space, which is how do I get money from the US to China? How do I get money from me to the pizza man? How do I get money from me to my employees? It's traveling through time. How do I get money from the year 2025 to the year 2125? How do I get the value I just created for those around me? How do I get that money to do me some good 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 5 generations from now? There will be an open competition for who can do it the best. He's right. And Bitcoin is in the heat of that competition. Bitcoin and gold are winning by a mile. And Bitcoin is going to smoke gold over the long term. It already has been smoking gold.
Jack Mallers begins with a blunt truth. The money printing has already begun. And according to him, there's no way out of it. Governments around the world, especially the United States, must print money if they want access to scarce commodities, real goods, and the raw materials that power economies. Whether it's oil from Argentina or semiconductors from South Korea, the exchange is simple. Dollars are printed, swap lines are created, and the system keeps rolling. For years, the narrative was that tariffs or strong leadership would fix economic imbalances. Politicians claimed America could impose tariffs, rebuild industry, and run a tight ship without relying on debt and printing. Mallers calls this nonsense. In his words, it's bullshit. Governments cannot escape the math. They must debase their currency to stay afloat.
Let's hear from our boy Eric Trump.
And the future is incredible. The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super excited.
How do you think Bitcoin's going to go?
I've always said that I think in time Bitcoin surpasses $1 million. I think with quantitative easing that we're going to have starting tomorrow when the announcement's made, and all signs point in the right direction, unless this guy's really off his rocker, but then he's going to just get laughed out of this country. But I think starting tomorrow you're going to see right drops. You see what's happening with M2, which is the money supply around the world, which is skyrocketing right now. Fourth quarter has always historically been the best quarter, or, generally the best quarter for cryptocurrencies.
I agree. I think Bitcoin's going to heat up. Gold usually runs first. Bitcoin outperforms. We're entering an era of monetary competition. And we're just getting started. Rocks are outperforming bonds, guys. They have to print the money. All new investment into this country has to come through printed money. All strategic relationships with those that have real, raw world commodities is going to have to come through printed money. In order to reindustrialize America, bring back the middle class, the dollar has to get substantially weaker. Bitcoin fixes this. Do you agree that the next financial crisis will be a worldwide sovereign debt crisis? Yeah, I do. Well, I think we've been living through a sovereign debt crisis, generally speaking. So yes, my answer is yes, is that we're living through a sovereign debt crisis. But again, I think that the default, so the crisis, is a slow debasement. The United States is never going to default because they can print what they owe. And so you're just going to get a weaker and weaker dollar. Okay, Nick Szabo recently resurfaced on Twitter. What are your thoughts on his contributions within the history of Bitcoin, and what should the roles of early cryptographers like Nick and Adam Back be in Bitcoin? One of the most important properties of Bitcoin is that there is no single individual that has any, controlling role or authority. So I love Nick. I think we're all forever in debt to Nick's contributions, even before Bitcoin. Just his work in monetary theory, monetary history, what he's obviously been able to contribute to cryptography and what has become Bitcoin. What Satoshi did was really take a bunch of independent innovations, and his innovation was combining them all in a way that worked. So I think Nick, guys like Adam, are unbelievable contributors to humanity as a whole through their technological innovations and contributions. With that being said, Nick's just a dude. I'm glad to see him back in the conversation, but Nick's just a dude, just like you and I are. And so, his opinion, here's the thing that I don't think people understand. In order to change Bitcoin, you have to convince everyone that actually runs Bitcoin to update their software. So, I remember Roger Ver had the most Bitcoin in the world, and he invested in all the biggest Bitcoin businesses, and he got all of the businesses like Coinbase to try and force change down all of our throats. But guess what? We, the people, didn't want to change. So we said, fuck you. And Bitcoin didn't change. So, not to say that Nick's a bad guy or just trying to force bad on Bitcoin, but my point is that, Nick's thoughts and opinions should be measured on their own merits. They should be measured on the substance of them, not him himself. He, of course, comes with some credibility, so you might, look to his opinion on cryptography more than some random dude. But generally speaking, the coolest part about Bitcoin is everyone's ideas, everyone's thoughts, everyone's words are judged on their merit. You're judged on your proof of work. This isn't a credentials-based system where because you were someone in the past or because you went to Harvard, your opinion matters more. That's just not how it works. So I'm glad Nick's back because he's smart and he's been a net positive for Bitcoin, undoubtedly. But, we'll judge what he says based on merit, right? I don't know if that makes sense. But these OGs, as you call it, they don't have any outsized, they don't have any greater role than you. You can create a company just like Adam has, just like I have. You can run a Bitcoin node, just like Adam does, just like I do. There are, like, anyone can be anything. And consensus is the only way to affect substantial change to the protocol. And we all are competing in a truly free market where the best ideas and the best merit, the best proof of work is what lasts.
So what's the takeaway from Jack Mallers' fiery message? It's simple. The age of fiat dominance is ending. Governments can't stop printing money. They have to do it to survive. But every new dollar printed erodes your purchasing power, your savings, and your future. Mallers argues that we are entering an era of monetary competition, and Bitcoin is leading that race. Unlike gold, Bitcoin is finite. Unlike fiat, Bitcoin is incorruptible. Unlike traditional financial systems, Bitcoin is open, neutral, and accessible to anyone.
That's it for today's look into BTC Insight. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay on top of all the latest insights. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next one.